Да, это та комната. Заходи, бро. В смысле? Подожди, а у меня уже это... А, Hey guys, hello. Can you hear me? Just type something if you do hear me. We're gonna start right now.
Yes.
So my name is Stan, and actually I am working in Techstars Dev as a JavaScript teacher. My course is JavaScript Basics, and I am giving our students intro to JavaScript, where we have a live project. We push the code on the daily basis, most probably on the daily basis. And in every homework, we have some project homework where we have to use the new material. So as for me, currently, I am working as an SDET at the Hogarth company, and the Hogarth company itself, it's a third party for the Apple. So basically, I am working at Apple. What can I say more? Before that, I've been working on at the Climate Corporation. Its office located in San Francisco. I was responsible for more than 20 products overall, and I had to maintain all the projects related to the climate. So we had a lot of different products like forecasting, water map, and crops, fertilizers and stuff. So basically the main idea was to improve the crop for the farmers. And we basically were selling that data information to the farmers. And this is actually all about me for right now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And let's make a small quick round where I just pick a person, and you just guys tell me about your background, or if you have a background in IT, or if you do not have such a background, and where you should just tell me about the expectations about this free course. So let me introduce you our second teacher, Sergey. Could you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sergey. I'm front-end teacher. I'm teacher of front-end development in Techstars, and currently I'm working as a full-stack developer in Hewlett-Packard. But today I'm just assistant for Stan. So, yeah, if you have any questions, please say or type in chat, and I will say your question to Stan in time of our lesson.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So let's make a small quick round. Diana, can you please start? Just give me a small idea who you are and what's your background.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Diana, and I do not have any IT background at all.
Okay, cool, perfect,
Zero.
perfect. This
and
is actually what
we're not gonna see you guys, right? You're not showing your faces today.
As for me, sorry guys, I have problems with my web camera, but most probably before the next lesson, I'll fix it, this issue. Yeah.
Oh, we see Sergey. Hi, Sergey.
Yeah, but I can show myself. So yeah, hello again.
It would be nice because when you see the teacher's face, it helps to understand more, not only audio but the video also.
Yeah, I'll fix
sure.
this by the next class. I promise you, Diana.
Thank you. No problem.
Okay, I'll be visible during the whole lesson, so don't worry. You can look at me, but probably you will not have time to do it. So you will look at Stan's code. So yeah, just
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. So the next one gonna be, okay, guys, one more thing. If I pronounce your name or mispronounce your name, I'm so sorry about it. And so the next one gonna be Musafaiwa Guntakin. Sorry.
Yes, hello. My name is
Hello.
Güntaken.
Guntakin, nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you, and you. I don't
Okay.
have background. I don't work in time in IT. I don't have background.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's
That's
good.
fine. That's expected that you all don't have background in IT, but you're already here, so it is a good start, to get experience in IT.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one gonna be Elvira.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a little bit of knowledge of QA. And my
Mhm.
question, I have brackets. Will that work for today's class? Oh, no, I know we
Brackets?
have, yeah, we're supposed to install Visual Studio Code, but I have brackets instead, like to work with GS, if that's okay.
I
Or it has to
think
be a Visual Studio Code.
it unless you can run JavaScript code and HTML and CSS.
Yes, yes.
So that would be enough. But yeah, the
Okay,
reason
great,
why
thanks.
yeah, that's totally
Mhm.
fine, Elvira. The reason why we are pushing the Visual Studio Code because it's open source and a lot of companies are using it. I believe in Sergey's company, they use Visual Studio Code, and as well as in my company, we all using the Visual Studio Code because it's open source, very easy and understandable, and it's easy to run the code. But as I said, it's not an issue for you. As long as you understand how that app works, that's totally fine for me. And I have personally don't have any problems with it. Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next one gonna be Evgenia.
Hi, everyone. I also don't have any background in tech. I started learn Python a few months ago, but I didn't finish it. So I started again.
It's okay. It's okay. So JavaScript, it's kind of a slightly different thing, but
Yeah.
hopefully I will have a better chance just to explain it to you so that you will, kind of better understanding of it and you will enjoy it. This is actually my aim.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Evgenia. So the next one going to be Konstantin.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't have any IT background. Yeah, I tried to learn Python maybe several years ago, but yeah, it wasn't so easy for me, so I gave up. I
It's
need to
okay.
try it one more time.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I do understand because at the beginning it's all kind of hard to start something new, especially when you don't have a mentor. Yeah, let's say mentor who can lead you and just filter all the information because let's say that the modern coding or the modern coding languages, they are they're developing very fast, and sometimes you may learn something according to your opinion new, but that information is unfortunately outdated. So we are trying to give you guys the latest information and the latest coding techniques, so which should be good for you.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
guys. Thank you,
So the
guys.
next one going to be Yarek. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Yarek, is it you?
No, it's not me.
Nah, I know it is you. So
Yeah, I am listening.
since yeah, so wait a second.
Okay, I'm here.
Could you
I'm
please
listening.
introduce yourself? Here, guys,
Yes.
we have a unique experience where you can, interview the guy or our student who is taking right now our course, and you may ask him some questions. And Yarek, he's very super friendly person, and he will gladly answer your questions.
Yes, guys. So my name is Yarik. You can call me Yarik actually, and I'm listening for your questions. I have okay. If you want to, I can tell you about myself a little bit. Okay, I started a couple weeks ago, actually almost 1.5 months, and I haven't regret that yet. At least I'm really happy that I found these courses and I can continue. So you guys really happy. You should be really happy that you found these courses. To be honest with you. Teachers are awesome answering the questions and all that stuff, so we won't have any problems with that. So I don't know if you will go with them or not, but I would really recommend you to do that. But it's up to you anyway. So now I can listen your questions if you have any.
Cool. Thank you for joining, Yarek, actually.
Yep. I miss you. That's why I'm here. I miss you guys.
I don't think that you may, kind of learn something new here, but small repetition is always works, and you are, you have the same, let's say, rights, and feel free to ask your questions.
Well, yeah, I know, but I would like to hear maybe questions from the people who are here, and if they have any, they can ask me, or they can Slack me if they want it. I can share my Slack if they need or they want it after like recording.
Cool. That would be super. Thank you very much, Eric.
Yep, you're welcome.
So the last person gonna be operator EVM. Who is it?
Hi guys. Yeah, my name is Max, and I have I'm also I don't also have a background in IT, but I have like a basic knowledge about the programming, web programming, and stuff like that.
Cool. So you know some stuff, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, but it was ages ago, so somewhere in my you know what I mean, somewhere in my head there is some knowledge.
Okay, cool. Let's revoke knowledge, and
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope that you will use it even on during this free course, and I would be very happy if you join, if you decide to proceed with TechStart. So long story short, let's start, and let me share my screen real quick. Okay, so you guys should be able to see my screen. So close this guy. And today we're gonna work. Actually, we have, if I'm not mistaken, we do have two classes. I have two classes with you guys, and where we gonna create something, create a calculator using simple HTML and JavaScript. We won't be using CSS, but let me actually show you what we're gonna working on. So our goal is to create a simple calculator. As you can see, it has a title, calculator, it has a first number, it has a second number, and it has some result. So we do have to input fields, and the third one is just for showing the result. So let's try this out. I put 4, I put 5. If I want to add these two numbers, okay, I click on enter, and here you go. So I can make subtraction, also works, multiplication also works, and I can make division. Here you go. So this is actually what we will be working on. And to do that, I need a program. What program? I believe that you guys saw our message where I ask you to download the Visual Studio Code. So how we gonna do this project? Our strategy to create a documentation first, and that according to this documentation, you will be making or completing your homework. How does it look like? So if let's start from the scratch. So I created just a simple folder on my screen, called it JS calculator. And then once I open it, I do have only one file in it. So what's the next step? So the next step gonna be, I'm open this file. You can right click and then select which program are you going to use to open this file. In my case, it's gonna be a Visual Studio Code. So I click on it. So here,
Excuse
I have
me.
it.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
We should
Yes.
follow you.
No, you don't have
No,
to.
we just
So
have to see what you do, right?
yes, exactly. So once again, we are recording this video lesson for you, and my expectations, guys, after we complete the first part, you have a documentation. I will go through that documentation and I will complete the first part. You, as for homework, you should complete the first part. And to do that, you will be having both video and the documentation. So basically you have two sources of information. Either you can just read the documentation and follow the steps that are described in the documentation, or you can watch the video and then use the documentation. Either or should work. So my expectations before the next class, please complete the homework, okay? And then after that, use our Slack announcement channel, and then you can just attach your homeworks over there. And I will show you how to do it later. Okay? Any other questions before we start? No? Okay. So
like one.
I guess, yeah, I guess I can start. So simple JS calculator. What should we do? Let me see. Guys, I click on this. Yeah, here you go. I think, wait a second, I make it bigger for you. So create a project folder and name it JS calculator. So, okay, I have already created a project folder on my desktop. The place actually doesn't matter. So you can just in your documents, create a folder, projects or text start, whatever. And then in that folder, create a new folder, which is JS calculator. Then open the following folder using VS Code. So if you want to download the VS Code, you have to simply click here. Okay, you click on here, and then your browser should bring you to the Visual Studio Code download page, where you can just simply select the system that you are currently using, if it's gonna be Windows, Linux, or the Mac. So go ahead and download it. I have Windows, that is why I'm going to download the Windows. If you have a Mac, go ahead and use the Mac version. Then you have to install it. So what should we do next? Create calculator.html will contain the code. So actually, this is about the structure. What should we do? I go to this file, I go to this page actually, or let me just file, then I'm going to open the folder, and since this folder is located on my desktop, I'm going to open this specific folder. So all I have to do is just select folder. Here you go. Okay. I do trust it. Okay, so what's the next step? Sorry, guys. So here I see that I'm right now in my JS calculator folder and I can proceed. So I want to create the following files. The following files have to be created in my JS calculator folder. So what I can do, I can either right click here and then say new file and then say, according to the documentation, calculator.html. Here you go. That's done. Then I'm going to do the next step. I have to create another file, which is calculator.js file. So calculator.js. Cool. So as for right now, I do have two files. The first one is HTML file. The second is JS file. So what's the next step? Open calculator.html file and paste the following code. So if I copy this guy, right click, then copy, and I have to open calculator.html file, which is right here, and I have to right click and then paste it. Boom, now that's done. Where doc.html, this is a declaration, and this is not HTML tag. This is information to the browser about what document type to expect. In this case, this declaration of HTML5. So that means the very first guy over here, that means that we have the latest HTML version, which is version number 5. After that, we have the common tag head, and tag itself has several tags inside of it. The very first tag is head, and the second tag is body. So let's read about those tags. So tag HTML.
Sorry for interrupt you, Stan.
Yeah.
Maybe before we continue, can you explain why we need HTML, why we need JS? I mean, what does HTML on our web page, what does JavaScript on our web page to understand why we need these two files, why we need HTML, why we need JavaScript?
Yeah, so yeah, sure. That's a very good question. So if you go to the Google, for example, this is actually the website. What we have to know about the Google, not the Google, about the website. So every website consists of three, let's say, main pieces. The very first one is HTML. The second one is CSS, which is, and the third one is JavaScript. How does it work? Consider any web site as a human body where we have the skeleton, skin, and muscles. Now we have to determine what does or what is skeleton for the website. So as for skeleton, this is HTML. For the skin, CSS is responsible. As for muscles, this is JavaScript. So if we put all together, all three main pieces together, then we will get a very good website, static website. So where can you find HTML, for example, on the Google website? It's very easy. If you right click, I'm using the Chrome web browser. I suggest you also to use a Chrome web browser. So if you're using something else, that's totally fine. The idea should be the same. I just right click on the window, and then I'm looking for the inspect option, which is right here, inspect. So if you're using the Windows, the hotkey for this command is Ctrl+Shift+I. Bam, if you click on it, then you will see the structure of this website where you have the doc type HTML, you see, and now if we go to our structure, we also do have a doc type HTML. Then we have the tag HTML itself, all the content of the website, visible and invisible, should be enclosed in tag HTML. Then afterwards, we have two tags over here. The first one is tag head. So tag head contains invisible information, any kind of the links, and if you see the title. So do you see the title? And it says Google. Where can you find Google on that website? On this title is located is right here. If you would like to, for example, why do people are actually using the titles? The title itself helps search engines like Google, Yandex, Yahoo, or whatever it is to look for your specific website. So you can look for the website that you're looking for using that tag, and that is why every website, it's a very good practice so that your website contains a title. So if we, for example, let's choose something else not related to Google, for example, LinkedIn, and then I just right click here and then inspect. We do not care about what's inside right now, guys. Let me fold it up. Sorry. So if I click on here and we look for the title, it says LinkedIn, and you can see it right here, LinkedIn. So let's go back to Google and see what we have here. What if I change the title, the content of my text title? For example, let's put text start. So do we see any changes? Yes. So once I updated the title for this website, the name itself on this tab has been changed. Now it was Google before, now it's TechSearch. So, but don't worry, we are not going to break the Google. So if I refresh the page, it's Google again. So this is actually how it works. So once again, the tag head contains all invisible informations like meta, script, and if you want to connect your JavaScript file or JavaScript, you have to use tag head for that kind of the purposes. Let's go next. So we're done with the head. We're done with the head. Now let's select now let's have a look on the tag body. And the body contains the following information. So the body actually contains what we have to know about the tag body. Tag body contains the visible information. I can navigate through the images and you can see that the Google image is located right here. Input field is also located somewhere here, then the different buttons and so on. So we do not actually care about what's inside. All we have to understand for right now that if the all visible information on the website is located in the tag body. So did I answer your question, Sergey?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So once again, and the CSS. So that was our skeleton of our website. CSS is also located in tag head, and this tag is responsible for not this tag. CSS is responsible for different styles. about the paddings. It's responsible for the images, how the images would look like, what kind of the height and width the elements, your HTML elements will have, and so on. But for the functionality, if you would like to work about the functionality, if we come to the functionality, let's say muscles, this is the place or the spot where JavaScript comes in. And when I type something, here, so let's go to the LinkedIn again. And when I click on the elements, click on home buttons, even, the close something, make scrolling through the elements, click on the different, for example, groups, requested, and so on. This is actually where JavaScript comes in. So JavaScript is responsible for the functionality, and it is very important to understand it. So are we good to go? Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
So afterwards, let's proceed and let's keep on reading the documentation. Now we know that we have a skeleton, or we are going to create the human using skeleton and JavaScript. So today we're gonna talk about only the skeleton of our future human. So we just created a doc type HTML, which is right here. Then we created a tag HTML, it's enclosed. And then we have tag head and the body. And if you noticed, we have tag HTML has opening tag. The first part is called opening tag. The second part of it is called a closing tag. How do I define them? The opening tag is enclosed in this sign, less sign, and then bigger sign. And inside of it, there is the word HTML. The closing tag looks the same, but there is a slash inside of it. Here, it means that this is closing tag. The same rules is applied for the tag head. It has an opening tag and it has a closing tag. The same works for the body. So we have an opening tag and a closing tag. So let's proceed. The next step gonna be add tag title calculator inside the tag head. Now calculator.html looks okay. I'm going to copy this guy and then paste it right here in my head. Paste it. Oops, sorry. I copied the wrong thing. So just copy this guy and then go in here and then paste. I cannot copy it again. Does it actually work? That's strange. Here you go. Now calculator.html looks like this. Okay, I have a doc type HTML, and now I have added tag title inside of my tag head. So if you would like to see the result of it, let's go to the place where you have just created this folder, JS calculator. In my case, it's on the desktop. So I just double click on it. And now I see that I have some documents or some files inside of it. It has type Chrome HTML, it has a JavaScript file, and it has MD file. MD file, this is just our documentation. JavaScript file, this is calculator.html, and then calculator, and then HTML. This is actually the guy that we are looking for. So if I right click on it and then open, I just see the blank page, right? And nothing happens. But if you, let's have a look on the top tab, it says calculator. And the same, I'm going to apply the same trick here. I'm going to right click over here and then click on inspect option. I click on it and here you go. If you noticed, or if you're watching carefully, this is actually the same structure from what we have here in our calculated.html file. It has a doc type, it has a tag HTML, it has tag head, and we have a title calculator. The body is empty, and this is actually it. The title is displayed right here on the top tab. So let's proceed. This would be displayed on the top browser. Define the title. Okay, I have title. Now, what should we do next? Add tag h1 calculator in your tag body. Okay, I'm going to copy this guy and then put it in my calculator.html file in the tag body, guys. Paste. Sorry, what's wrong with it? Okay. Here you go. So I've just inserted the tag h1 into my tag body. It says my calculator. So h1 is responsible for the heading. So let's go to our web page. I hope that your Chrome is still open, and all you have to do is just to click on refresh button, which is right here. So once I clicked on refresh, now I'm able to see the heading H1, my calculator. And if I click on the head title, then the body. Now something is inside of my tag body. And this is actually my the string or the text, my calculator, which is located in my Visual Studio Code right here. So let's proceed. We put the word mount calculator inside H1 tag. So after that, so let's proceed. Paste the following code. So I'm going to copy it, copy, and then paste it right after the tag H1, the heading H1. So afterwards, I'm going to click and that doesn't work. Okay. Let's go here and then paste it here. So now after tag H1, I've pasted, I put another section, or let's say another HTML, which is div. So div defines the section or the container of your HTML element. Let's say that you want to put several things in one place, and that place will contain a section or the box. And for those kind of the purposes, you should be using the tag div. Let's read. So div is a container for HTML elements. And then we have an ID. If you notice this, we have an ID, first number. What is ID? ID is a unique attribute which can be applied to any HTML element. Why do people use it? So basically, if we are using it for the, let's say, how QA automations, or how regular QA engineers can use it in the daily basis, let's say that we are going to the same, for example, Google, right? And let's imagine that, for example, we have an element, let's say this microphone, it has a div, and inside of that div, we have an ID, which is microphone. And when we have to create a bug report and we have to, let's say, when you have to say to developer that you found a bug, you cannot just say, hey, there is an icon with microphone which is not working. Okay, you can say it, but roughly saying, if you want to be if you want to look more professional, you have to say, hey, we have an HTML element with a ID microphone which is not working, and could you please have a look? And then developer himself or herself can have a look, because he or she created, most probably he or she created this element, and say, okay, thank you for letting me know, and I know what element you are talking about. So that is why ID is being used, let's say, between regular QA engineers or front-end engineers.
Yeah. Also,
Yes.
ID is always unique, so it will be much easier to find this element if you will provide ID to developer or to someone else who look for this element.
Yeah. So basically, let's say it's like a pin on the map, which helps you to navigate through your website. And as Sergey said, this is unique element. There is no other HTML element with such an ID. It's just just like social security number, works the same way. So let's proceed. If you have any questions, guys, once again, feel free to say Sergey or to put your questions on the chat, and then Sergey can simply ask your question, or you can unmute yourself, stop me right away, and then ask your question. That's totally fine, because asking the questions is the part of the learning process. Okay. Let's proceed. Now, after an ID, we see that I have added another HTML element, which is h5. It has also an ID and first number heading. And so basically that div contains h1, h5 heading. And inside of it, we have a content, which is first number. So let's go to our file again and click on the refresh button. Oops, sorry, the wrong page. Okay, now I'm able to see the heading, which is first number. And this div appeared here now. In my tag body, I have a h1 element, which is my calculator. And afterwards, I have a div or the section with another heading, h5. The ID for this section is first number, and for the heading, it has also unique ID, which is first number heading. The content is first number. Okay, I think we're good for now. Let's proceed and read what should we do next. So,
sorry, I want to interrupt you. What is the difference between H1 and H5?
Yeah, so basically H1 from H1 and the H6, those tags determines heading. So if let me create H1 again, the biggest heading. So that is the biggest heading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So instead of H1, I'm going to put H2, H3, H4, 5, 6. Okay, I do not need this guy over here. You do not have to repeat this part because this part is just not, it's not in our documentation. So just a small heads up for you guys. So let's say the biggest heading, smaller, and just smaller. Then
smaller, and smallest. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. This is how it works. So smaller, so that you guys will see the difference. Okay, now I'm going to refresh the page and you will see the difference. So after that, as you can see, H1 defines or determines the biggest heading. Then afterwards, H2 is smaller, then H3 is kind of a little bit smaller than the second one, and so on. And the smallest heading so far is H6. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Let's refresh the page and we proceed where we stopped. Okay, going to open README file again. Let's say what we should do on the next step. Using the same idea from steps number 7, paste the following code. So I'm just going to copy this guy and put it right here. Oops, sorry. So after the first div, I'm going to put, okay, I believe it's not working. I'm going to put this guy over here. Second number and the result number. Now I have created 2 other sections, or let's say boxes with unique ID. You see now the ID is different. In this case, it was the first number. In the second case, it's second number. And in the third case, it's result number. So those guys have different headings as well, H5. So it has a heading, H5 has second number heading, and the content of it is second number. Then the last but not least is ID result heading, which belongs to the result number section. The content of it is result. So let me refresh the page and we'll see the difference. Okay, now I have my body contains 4 HTML elements inside of it. The very first one, or the main one, is the heading, and then I have 3 different divs, div 1, div 2, and div 3. So the first number heading, the second number, and the result number, which is right here. So let's proceed and read the documentation. We'll see what happens next. As a result, calculator.html looks like this. So now I'm able to see the structure of my HTML elements. This is actually what we expect. And if I click on this guy over here, calculator.html file, according, I think it looks similar. It looks very similar to me. It has a doc type, HTML, it has a title, and then inside of my body, there are 3 different divs after my tag H1, which is quite true to me. So let's proceed. Paste the following code. Okay, which is right here. Okay, let's look good. Now, what we should do next. So the very, okay, wait a second, guys. Me click on. Paste the following code, script. Okay, I'm going to copy this guy and then put it in the tag head. Okay, put it right. Oops, sorry. So script, blah, blah, blah. I should copy this guy and put it into my tag head. So what I've done, I've connected my calculator.js file to my tag HTML. As you can see, now I am using as a reference or as my JavaScript or as for my main muscle or as for my muscles, this file calculator.js file. So what should I do next? Open calculator.js file and paste the following function inside of it, window.unload, and then the function. Just copy this guy, copy, and then paste it right here in the calculator.js file. I want to paste it. Okay, can I just, yeah, here you go. So I pasted the following functions. What is window unload function? Once we click or once we open the calculator.html file, that action will triggers this file, calculator.js file. So for better understanding, imagine that whenever you start the car, you know, when you just put your keys inside of your car, and then you want to start the car, and then you want to drive somewhere else. Imagine that once you press the start button, you start the engine. This is actually how it works. So I hope you guys understand. So after that, this function will be executed when the window has been loaded. So create a variable, first number variable heading, and assign a value, first number, and put it inside function window onload. So we have to basically create a variable. So JavaScript has variables. Why do people use variables in JavaScript? So if we want, let's say that we need the place or the storage, which and that storage will contain some sort of the information. And to do that, we have to use variables. So in my case, I'm going to create a variable by or copy this file and just copy it and then put it in my calculator.js file. Paste it right here and bam, that's done. If you see, this is actually the way how we are creating or declaring the variables. To do, if we want to create or declare the variable, we have to use the keyword. So as for right now, there are three different ways if you want to create or declare the variable. The very first keyword is let, widely used right now. The second one is const. So const and then variable, let's say some variable. And then there is an equal sign. That means we are assigning some value to the variable, some variable. So let's say test. Afterwards, once the line is over, it's a very good practice to put semicolon, and it's on upon every company if you put semicolons or not. So in my company, we use semicolons. Some companies, they do not follow the strategy, and this is actually it. And there is a third way if we want to declare the variable, which is var, and then let's say some variable 3, whatever, and then I'll say as or whatever, just some test again. So basically, there are 3 keywords if we want to create the variable. The very first one is let, the second one is const, and the third one is var. So what's the difference between those 3? The difference is that var, as for right now, is barely used. That means that you can see it in the old codes, on maybe in old books, but as for right now, it's not the best practice for right now to use the var. So let's delete var. And we right now we have 2 keywords. The very first one is let, and the second one is const. What's the difference between let and const? It's very easy. If in the future we going to change the value, this value, to something else, let's say second number, we have to use keyword let. If we sure that we are not going to change the value, then we have to proceed with const variable. So if you are not sure, you know, whenever you are creating some variable, if you are not sure what kind of the variable do you need, go ahead and use let keyword, because for the const variable, you have to keep that in mind. Once you create something with a keyword const, that value cannot be changed later. So that is why I'm going to create a variable using a let keyword. Then the name of my variable, then equal signs means that I am assigning some value to this variable. So let me put it back to the first number. And that's it.
Sorry for interrupt you. Could you also show how to reassign value in variable? I mean, how to change value in our variable. So you show it how to declare it, but how to change value inside the variable.
So yeah, if I want to change the value of my variable, I have to just call the variable that I have just created and say, hey, now from now on, you are second number. This is the way how you can change the value. You don't have to declare this variable. All you have to do is just to call the name of your variable and then assign the new value to it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's proceed. After the declaring the variable let first variable heading first number, paste the following code. Okay, I'm going to just copy it and then we'll go through it together. So after this, I put another line of the code, and it says document.get element by ID, first number heading, and then inner.html, then equal to first number variable heading. What is it? So this is actually, sorry. Sorry, guys. This is actually, this line tells our browser that I am looking for the unique HTML element, and I am looking, but by what kind of the criteria, I am using, I am to find that HTML element, and it says by ID. That means that my browser, or let's say my program, will go to my calculator.html file, and it will be looking for the HTML element with ID first number heading, which is right here, first number heading. There is no other HTML element with such an ID. That means that it will take this first number heading and will assign the new and will assign it to my variable, which is right here. So once that piece of code is done, I moved my storage. You see the first number. If I delete it, let me just, for right now, I'm going to, you don't have to do it. So what's happened? Before that, I have a first number. Let's put something else. Something, sorry, something else. And then I update the page or refresh the page. Now, instead of my instead of my first number, I see something else because the content of it is something else. But for right now, if I enable this code again and refresh the page, you'll see the first number. Why? Because for right now, we are storing information for that specific idea, not on in our calculator.html file, but in JavaScript file. Why do we do this actually? Why we have to do such a thing? Imagine that here in this example, it's very easy and understandable. We can keep it here in HTML, but imagine that you have a very, let's say, nested structure or very hard structure where you have to use different headings and those headings using each heading contains its own title, like here second number, first number, and so on. And imagine everything works fine, and then in one of the sunny days, your boss or your manager comes in and say, "Hey, can we change, for example, this number or this title to something else?" And imagine in that case, you have to go through a lot of pages, and then you have to update on the each page the content, you know, like here, second number to the third number or whatever number it is, or some other content. But if you're using the variables, you can change it only in one place, and that change will be applied across your project. So with that said, the storage, your storage will be more dynamical, let's say so, and it's your storage will be more flexible for the changes. And just a small tip for you guys, before you start working as an IT engineer, it's very good to, it's very kind of good practice to make your code flexible and changeable and understandable. Am I right, Sergey?
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
would say scalable. Yeah, also one more point why we store it in variables, and it's because to create not just static website or something like that, we try to create some web application as developers, as QA engineers who test this web application, and to add some functionality, like we want to click on button and we want to, after clicking this button, we want to change our title. So to do it, we need to use variable which can be changed, because if we wrote it in simple HTML, we will not be able to change it after some action without JavaScript. So yeah, to have this flexibility to be able to change any title or something like that, or some text in the future, we store this text and these titles in JavaScript variables to be able to change it when we want to do it. So yeah, as Stan says, it gives to us, it gives to our application some flexibility, and yeah, etc. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So using the same idea from step number 11, we gonna paste the following code. So we go to our code. I'm going to copy these guys over here, and then go to my window unload function. So as for right now, so what we have done, I created another variable, second number variable heading, and the content of its second number. And I have created the third variable, which is result variable heading. So basically, we have created three variables for each of the headings. And now to make sure that if it works as we expect, well, what we have to do, I can go to my calculator.html file and then delete the content of it. So to make sure that after deleting the headings in my calculator.html file, I will be able to see it because now I'm storing the information in my calculator.js file. So let's refresh the page and see what happens. So I have just refreshed the page and I see that all my headings are still present. That means that now I am storing the information about the headings in my calculator.js file. And I see that there's a small mess over here because that section of the code looks fine to me. That one is a little bit assigned to the left part. So if you want to your code to look beautiful, all you have to do is just to right click and then format document. Here you go. Now everything looks nice and beautiful. So what should we do after that? So open calculator.html file and remove first number, second number, and the result. So after that, we are, as I said, we are storing about the information about those headings in our JS file. This is actually, guys, it for today, for today's class. We've learned something new. Hopefully, we talked a lot about HTML and JavaScript. We created the variables, the first variables, and we are using those variables or those three variables in our site. So as for homework, what should you do for your homework? Once this lesson is over, we're gonna upload, we try our best to upload this video from this class as soon as possible. And then we will create a post in our Slack channel. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, we'll post right here aside or the video where you can just simply find the video. Then you will see the link, something like that. And then also, I will attach the same README file. As for homework, you have to follow the instructions. You have a video, you have a documentation, and you have to reproduce the same calculator.js file. So once you you can attach your homework to the post below. You can just simply, okay, you'll see the post over here, and then you'll see the reply option. After you click the reply, you can say, hey Stan, Sergey, sorry, Sergey, I made a typo in your
That's
name.
okay, but wait, please. I believe Arthur shared some chat for homework, separate chat for homeworks.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a chat for the homeworks. You should be able to put your homework over there. You just all you have to do once you go ahead and just say homework and then attach the files right here. Here you go, and say here is my homework part. Here's my homework, and that's it. And you can post it. Here you go. This is how it works. So after this class, go ahead and find the video in the announcement channel and post your homework in homeworks channel. And I wish you good luck. Feel free to ask me or Sergey or Arthur any kind of the questions, or the Yarik, how he finds the course. And this is actually it for today. I wish you guys happy evening and happy weekends. Hope you recharge your batteries, and I think we are looking to see you soon, guys, with your homeworks ready. Hope you enjoy this class. And before we end, feel free to ask any questions, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, please ask questions, maybe advices for us. What did you like? What did you not like? Like that.
Okay, I think this is it. So as I said, Diana, I promise before next class, I will try to fix the camera issue and you'll see my smiling face. That's a promise. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you in our next class. Bye.